Hi everyone, I hope we're all doing well. Today, we're going to be reviewing this. This is the Flic Smart Button. And this smart button's a little bit different than all the other smart buttons out there. And there is one that I reviewed before, and what they usually do is control the automation in your home. They could control lights, smart plugs, a coffee machine, things like that. This button's able to do all those things, but it can also do something else. It connects directly to your phone, and it can actually control your phone for you, which makes things very easy. One example could be controlling your music, for instance. Many of us who are deaf or hard of hearing enjoy listening to music. Oftentimes, if you hear a song you don't want to listen to, you have to open up your music player on your phone and hit next to skip that song. Or maybe if you're out on a run, you're listening to music, and then I don't want to listen to that song, and you have to pull that phone out of your pocket each time you want to skip a song. However, you could just use one of these Flic smart buttons and with a single press, skip a song. That way you wouldn't have to fuddle with your phone in the middle of a workout. You can also use the button to control the volume of the music as well, which is a great function. Another example of how to use this button is to send an automated message for you. If there's a message that a similar message that you send very frequently, you can use this button to send that message automatically. So for instance, if you're working at the front desk of an office and you had to call someone in, that's a message that you're going to be sending very, very frequently. And you don't have to type it out each time. You could set it up once automatically and then use the button to initiate the sending of that message, like, "Hi Ross, someone's here to meet you, please come in." And that way you could call someone in without having to type out that message each time. Another example of how you could call for someone to come in would be in shipping and receiving, when someone has to sign off on a parcel. That way you can just use the button to call someone into the room. And you can set it up with text or email as well. Another way to use the smart button would be to call specific people into a room. If you had 6 people on your team, for instance, you could use 2 buttons because each button has 3 different functions: a single press, a double press, and press and hold. So you could use each of those 6 different presses to correspond with each team member. That way, if someone specific is needed, you could use a specific button press to call that person into the room. Another way to use the smart button is to send a message while you're driving. You can use the adhesive on the back of each button to stick to your dash. That way you could let someone know that you're about to get to their place. You could also use the button to hang up a call for you. That way you can just keep driving instead of having to mess with your phone. Or you could even use the button to trigger a fake emergency call. That way you can get out of that boring meeting. So that's a few examples of how you can use this button to control your phone. And it can also open apps for you. One app that this button pairs well with is the Runkeeper app. Maybe if you go for a bike ride every morning, you could have one of these buttons on your door or even on your bike handlebar. That way you just have to hit the button to start your workout and then hit it again to finish it. That way it's completely automatic and you don't have to manually open up your phone, open the app, start a workout. All you have to do is hit the button and go. And these are just a few examples, and I think it's really cool. So where most smart buttons only connect to smart devices, this one also connects to your phone. You can also use this button to make a food order for you if you make a very similar food order pretty frequently. Now I'm going to show you a few examples of how to use the button. I'll do a single press to open the Runkeeper app. I'll do a double press, and that'll make this lamp start to flash. Then I'll do a press and hold to just turn the lamp on and off. And I've already explained smart button functionality in another video, but again, you could use this to connect to anything, to lights or to turn on any certain type of device. One example is if there's someone in your home who depends on you for support. They could hit this button and the lights in your home could start flashing, alerting you to go and give them the help they need. There's one thing I actually almost forgot. Perhaps if you live in not the safest of areas, but you feel you still need to get out for a walk or some fresh air or a jog or something, but you want to have that peace of mind that you're safe at all times. You could have one of these buttons in your pocket, and at a single press, it'll send a close friend of yours your GPS location and a picture on a map of where you're located. That way they could drive and pick you up wherever you are and see if you need help, if you've sent them that SOS message. And that's what the feature is called, SOS. I think that's a pretty great feature to have. So there's that single press, and Runkeeper is opened. Now the double press, and the lamp is flashing. And again, that would be great for calling someone to help if needed. Pretty cool, hey? So far, I've only shown button presses that connect to a single event, but you can also use a button to trigger a sequence of events. Maybe you have one beside your bed, and whenever you press it in the morning, it'll turn on your lights, open the weather app on your phone, and even start to make your coffee for you. That would be an example of triggering not one, but 3 events with a single press. Alongside all of these pros, there are a couple cons. One being that because it uses Bluetooth, you have to be very near to the button with your phone. This button doesn't use Zigbee, Z-Wave, or Wi-Fi like other buttons use. That means that you have to be in close proximity to the button, and if you're not, the button is rendered dead, useless. So with that office example I gave, you would have to have your phone on the desk near that button for it to be able to be used. So if, for instance, you were sick and someone else came in to replace you for the day, because your phone isn't there, that button wouldn't work. So as they're working and they want to use that button to call someone into the office, it wouldn't work because clearly your phone isn't there for the button to connect to. So that is one downside of the Flic Smart button, is that your phone has to be very near to it. If you're using this button to connect to smart lights, you'd have to have it connect to your phone first. So if I was out, someone else who was home without me there, like my wife for instance, wouldn't be able to hit that button to turn on and off smart lights. However, Flic does have a solution to this. They've made their own hub called the Flic Hub, and it's made specifically for smart home functionality. That way, when you hit the button, it'll connect first to the Flic Hub and then connect to a smart device. That way, it doesn't have to use your phone to connect to first. Usually, you would have it just directly connected to your phone, though, which is pretty easy to use because you usually have your phone on you. However, if you're away from a button that is set up in your home, it wouldn't work. In summary, I think that this smart button is absolutely worth it. And it only comes in at $30, which means you could buy as many as you want in your home. Another great feature that this has is the labels for the buttons. By default, it comes with the Flic logo, but you could also put a picture of a light on it, or a fan, or your own business logo, or a button that looks like help, anything that could correspond with what you use the button for. So I hope that gives you a better idea of how to use the Flic Smart button. All right, be smart.